Hi, I'm Julian, and this is the WLB Podcast. Hello, everybody. We have a very well-recognized artist amongst us. Everybody's a fan of our work. There's an Instagram page called Femvisionary. If you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. There are mind-blowing pieces of art there. And not only does she do the art, she also teaches you to do how to actually do all of those strokes, which I have found okay, though she does it very effortlessly. So though it looks really simple, but when I actually get to doing it, it is a little hard. But I really love her work, and I think she's put in a lot of work, and I think we just see one part of it on Instagram. So today's podcast, we're going to discuss about what she's been up to and what all things does she offer on Femvisionary and what's the story behind this. So welcome, Madhu. Thank you for joining us on this podcast. Please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Okay, so I am an artist, currently a surface pattern designer, as well as an entrepreneur. So I technically didn't start as a business. I started about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. I started with an Instagram page. It was something that I did just out of joy. It was just something that I started. I was super excited. And then opportunities came in. There was a bunch of things that happened, and about four months back, I left my full-time job, went full-time into my business, and so I've been doing this, and it's now a business. It has multiple revenue streams, and it's grown massively from just an initial fun thing. So yeah.
So it's been just 4 months?
Since I went full-time. So I've been kind of doing stuff, but I wasn't really into it full-time. I was still working somewhere, and I was doing this on the side. It was just I wasn't taking it too seriously. But 4 months back, I decided, it's time. And what happened was I was making more money, which is kind of I don't know, I think that's a very good way to know when you want to go full-time into something, is when my hobby that I was spending 2-3 hours was making me more money. It was giving me so much more than my full-time job. That's when I realized that it makes sense to actually leave the full-time and go into this. So yeah, that's
amazing. So by hobby, do you mean you've been doing this ever since you were a kid, or was it something you just struck upon?
Drawing was something I did as a kid. I used to draw as a child. I loved drawing. I was a kid who would sit in the back of class and just draw. I was always that kid, very quiet, very shy, and I would talk a lot as well, but I would be basically drawing and talking. So I used to love drawing. I started with doodles, henna designs, and then as time went by, I kind of went into watercolors, and so I've been doing watercolors for about 10 years now, but I never explored it that much. I used to play around with it, then work would come in, so it was very on and off. But with Instagram, because I started, it became a dedication where I had to paint every day, or I had to paint at least something over the weekend so I could post. It became a commitment, which was a good thing. So now I have a very strong style, which before it was just for fun. So there was no actual voice. There's nothing identifiable that it was my work. But as I kept painting it every day, now I can tell, now people can tell me oh, isn't this your work? They themselves know.
Yeah.
So
how did you research further into this? Did you study that yourself first? How to do brush strokes and?
I would say it's completely self-taught. Though I did learn the medium. So basically, it was when I was doing the drawing part, I did have books and references that I learned from, and I was in fashion. So in fashion, we actually had a course that went into fashion illustration using watercolors. So that was the first time I explored the medium. So I learned the basics, but the thing is, it was again in terms of fashion. It wasn't what I do right now at all. So all of that was very explore, like a lot of self-exploring, a lot of trial error, a lot of testing and seeing what I actually like. But I haven't actually taken a proper course that went into it. So it's not, it's something that I developed on my own. Most of the things are like,
that's nice.
Yeah.
You should have patents in art as well, not just science and technology.
Yeah,
I think that's right. I mean, we can definitely, like, the moment I see leaves and I see furry animals, really cute ones, I know that this is from Femvisionary. It can't be from anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like if it's in a reel, if I'm scrolling down and I see, so that's something. I mean, I think you should be proud of this. That's something great that you've developed. So, when you mentioned fashion as your full-time job, what was it that you were doing? Could you tell us a little bit about your
so
job?
Fashion basically was, so I did my degree in fashion, and I actually went to London and studied fashion as well. So it was mainly designing garments. So I also worked in a college in Bangalore, India for about 2 years. I was teaching fashion at a college level, so it was more of designing, the creative side of things. I think that's where a lot of my creativity got honed in, where I was trying a lot of things, coming up with ideas, coming up with collection names, really thinking about the story behind the collection, story behind the artwork. So that was basically what I was doing. And then after that I shifted and I was working at an incubator where you basically work with businesses who are at the early stage. They want to launch their business. So it was mainly in fashion. So they were launching their fashion business and I was working with them, consulting, helping them with ideas, helping them how they can market their business plan, and basically the technical and the money side of creativity, the business side of creativity.
Okay.
So that's what my actual job was, and it was amazing. It was really fun. But yeah, the time for that.
So do you think I mean, the experience has helped you when you're running your own business, like the work that you did with your clients there, does knowledge from that actually help you price your art or your courses, which we have to get into? Because like I said, we have very limited information about it. There's a lot of things happening. Like when I went to your website, it was like, oh my God, there's a plethora of things. Okay, this is I've just seen a few things here, so I have to get you on board. That's why I sent out the message. But coming back to my question, did your experience from from your work help you when you set this up? Like, do you have spreadsheets from that inspired?
So this is interesting. So basically, I don't know, since I finished college, I tried so much. Like, I think that was a big thing for me because I tried so much. I tested so much. I was working in fashion in different places. So I was working as a designer, I was working as marketing, I was working in graphics. So I did a lot of playing around through that. And I also went into freelancing. So I was doing freelancing again with designing for a really long time. And I used to be this person who loves research. I love marketing. I love learning about it. It's not something I studied, but I did a lot of research on it. So when it actually came to my clients, when I was working with the incubator, I actually kind of used the knowledge I had and as well as saw how it would work, like in real time. So it's not just like knowing the knowledge in your head, but actually seeing the results, seeing how it comes across and what actually works and doesn't work in real life. So that came into the picture. I don't know, I just love trying these things, and I think the industry, especially when you think about marketing, it's so interesting in terms of pricing. It's so interesting because sorry, did I get stuck?
No, you're still on.
Okay, so the pricing structure, I think it's really interesting because you can always price it so differently. Like you can go low scale, you can go into something that you think is very affordable, you can go into mid-level, you can go into high-end, and just depends on how you want to do that. So all of that information, I think I tested and tried so much that it was a lot more easier with my business. Even with freelance, because I started with like a very small rate. Like my freelance started off with hardly anything, and then it just built up to a point where I was like, wow, like I went like 10 times over my initial starting phrase. So I think
it should definitely
which is huge, right? Because the thing is, I think the all of us have this idea that we need to undermine ourselves, or like we need to charge a good price. Like we have this idea that, oh my god, we can't charge too much, people are not going to buy, you know, and each one has that level of like what they think is possible. But yeah, when you go into like when you've tested and tried, so when I got a chance to work with companies, seeing the pricing that they use, I got to see what works and what doesn't work, and then use based on what I felt like. So.
Nice. So you've had a time frame where you're managing both the day job and Femvisionary, and that was like, was it really hard in terms of like, was it stressful, or was this a stress reliever? Like, was Femvisionary where you like draw it out?
This is funny because I'm a complete workaholic. Like I love, because it's creative. First step, it's a very creative industry. So my job was creative. The Femvisionary was creative, so it was all creative. So I loved it so much that I never felt like it was work. So I would just paint, I would do my things. Everything was very all the time, and I was a workaholic. Like I had no social life. I would have a social life online, I would meet people, but 90% of my time was my business, and I was so excited about it. And now it's so funny because now when I went into my business full time, I'm actually doing the opposite. So now I take breaks, I have like holidays, and so it's like when I was working full time, I was actually more stressed out. And now with my business, I'm just like, yeah, I can relax. So I take days off. I, you know, it's like I've made it my own. But yeah.
That's nice. So I'm curious about the name as well. Like, why Femvisionary? Why?
So it's actually the start to a very big plan, to be honest. Like I had a very big vision of where I wanted this to go, and now I'm in a starting stage. So initially my plan was to support other artists, support other creative businesses, and that was why it was called Femvisionary, which is like femme for women, females, and visionary was like entrepreneurs, creative, anyone visionary. So it was like Femvisionary. So that's what the initial thing was. And I started doing that. I started promoting artists, but I felt like I needed to also show my identity so that people also understand that there is something more and that they could trust me. So basically by next month, like Feb, I'll be launching courses that are mainly on business side of, you know, creativity, marketing, how do you do that, and also kind of supporting other artists, supporting other creative people on my platform, and, you know, giving them the chance to shine.
Nice. That's awesome. Like that's really nice. I mean, I think the pandemic, it brought out a lot of artists and cooks, and like there were a lot of these inner skills coming out front. And I think thanks to the internet and thanks to Instagram, we were able to see all of that. So that's really nice. Like you're trying to, it's like a chain. You're trying to create a chain when it's a business for you, but you're actually helping other people make a business out of that. That's really nice. I mean, the thought behind the name is really nice. So, have you done an MBA before, or does like how do you understand the business side of the things? Like, have you done an MBA, or how do you understand the business part of it? Like, hello, am I audible?
So so I wouldn't say MBA is the basic thing. So business, I believe it's more about the practical. It's about the actual trying and testing, and if you haven't tried and tested, the MBA doesn't help. So I haven't gotten a degree from it. I was planning to, but then I realized that they don't have updated information. And I spoke to a lot of my friends who are doing MBAs, who are doing entrepreneurship as their main thing. When I spoke to them, I realized that a lot of them didn't have the actual up-to-date information. And they don't have anything that's specific to small businesses, people who want to start in a smaller scale. That information is missing. So I think it's very important that you actually have that skill of testing it out. Like if you've got practical knowledge, nothing beats it. So that is one thing. Also, I really believe in actually following your, how would I say, like your heart and what works for you. You know, you can't follow what someone else tells you to do. And that's something that I'm completely against. Even in my art, even when I'm teaching, I'm always telling people to follow their heart and follow what they feel like, follow their style. That's very important. You can't, like, tomorrow if someone decides to copy everything that I did in my business, do it exactly the way I did it, they're still not going to get the results that I got because they didn't follow what they needed to do. So it's about doing what works for you.
That's nice. So I think I've read this on Twitter somewhere where it says starting a business is 10 times better than going for an MBA. So I think you've started on the right path. Well, I think, can you talk a little bit more about your products and your courses? What are the different offerings that Femvisionary has?
You actually go theory because most of the books and textbooks are not up to date. And I remember because I was reading through all of this and I was looking at it, and they don't even talk about social media in some of the courses. They don't talk about influencers because the information is not up to date. So it's like the practical knowledge, the practical world is going so much faster than these books can keep up.
True. So, could you talk a little bit more about your products, the different things that you have as an offering from Femvisionary, the courses and the products? Hello?
Okay. So we basically have... can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Your video is stuck though.
Great.
But it's
so
okay.
I
Continue.
do... Oh, that's so weird. Okay, so the couple of things is that I have technical courses for people who want to learn watercolors. So I have courses on that. These are 6-week courses, very intensive, but it's all planned in such a way that people can take it at their own time, what works for them. So that is the one thing. So they have courses. I have products. So I'm going to be launching my collection. It was supposed to be this week, but it's going to be probably in Feb, along with my shop, which is going to have products. So things like t-shirts, mugs, cute stuff that you can buy with my products, things that you can gift people. And as I said, in Feb, I'm actually going to be launching my courses that are mainly on business side of art. So business side of the creative world, and that's coming up as well. So there's a lot of things. Like since 2021, I have a bunch of things planned up. I am getting my NLP certification for coaching done as well. So that's going to be added into my courses. And NLP, I think, is such a beautiful tool. Is something that I think is just coming more and more into the market now. But it's basically it's neuro-linguistic programming, and it's working with your inner confidence, working with your beliefs, working with things like that to help you in your life, help you in your business. So that's kind of the direction I'm going in, bringing that coaching part into business. Yeah.
Nice.
Lots of things.
I mean, that's a large set of things in plan. I don't know how do you find the time to do all of this. But that's, I think there's a Maya Angelou quote for this, like the more.
I know.
So what I was going to ask you before the thing went off was, do you have any inspiration, a source of inspiration? Like, do you travel the world, or do you read something specific? Like, though you have different products like cups or t-shirts, the art is very floral, and it's I think you have named also every product in a very, very beautiful way. I love the names and the collection names, and also, so what is it that is the source of all of the inspiration behind this?
So actually go back to the NLP thing. So it was a lot of, because for me to actually build a business, do something with my art, it was a lot of things that I had to work through in terms of my own confidence, a lot of fears that came up, a lot of standard thing. Like, I think we've all heard it, like artists starving artists, it's a very standard thing. Like artists struggle. You have to, if you have your own business, you work 24/7, you don't get breaks, you know all these things. And I had to work through a lot of them, and a lot of it happened through building up my own confidence, going through gratitude, visualizing, seeing a future for myself, working through my beliefs, working through limits that I had placed or I thought were there. So that's kind of my inspiration that comes to art, because I want to share that. And that's why I said, like, NLP was a huge tool for me. It really helped me break those boundaries, made me believe in myself a lot more, because it was just like releasing all those like fears that was in my head. So that kind of is the basis for my art. When I go into painting, I'm trying to spread that word, trying to get more people more aware of things like gratitude, just being positive life, just seeing the positive in situations, just seeing that you can have everything that you want and giving yourself that chance. So that's kind of everything that I do with my art. The collections are named based on that, because I want people to look at the art and get inspired, see it, get excited, and make it a reminder for their life. We all need more of that. We all need that reminder.
Definitely. Definitely. I think 2020 has taught us all, you can't take anything for granted. So how was the like, for your business, was it a blessing in disguise, or do you feel that we definitely should have had a 2020 in our lives? To, like, how do you look back on the year?
So I think it has a lot of different things for different people. Like, some people really struggle. There were a lot of losses. I personally know people who have actually they had a very bad effect from the COVID itself. And I think it just depends on what you take. You can sit back and see all the negative, and you can see all the unfortunate things, or you can see it as a wake-up call. And I think a lot of people did see it as a wake-up call. That's why you had a lot of people, like, painting and cooking and trying new things, because it was a wake-up call for them to realize that they needed more in their life, and work wasn't all of it. So it gave us that chance to breathe, to stop, take just wake up, see what your life is like, and see if that's the life you want. If you want to change, you want to work more on it, you want to try something new. So it gave us all that chance. But I miss traveling. That I miss a lot. Like, I love traveling. I travel every year someplace, and I couldn't. So that was hard. But yeah.
So just since we are on a video, could you nice. I mean, I think I agree. Though meeting people, I miss meeting people. Being an extrovert, it is too hard, and that's why I've like, let's do something online at least. So I would like to just ask you,
yeah.
Could you show any one piece of art and tell us what is the story behind that? Like, what actually made you draw? Like, any one of the things that you remember. If it's handy, it'll be great if you could show it, or else just talk about something that has a story behind. Like, you could share one of them. What made you draw one specific thing? Or
I have
too many.
It's a very quick
one. I just need one.
It's a little bit further away. I'm not gonna point at my wall. Like, I do that with
sure.
I do that with some of my like students.
Courses.
I'm like, there you go. That's the piece. So no, I do have. Just give me a minute. Let me see if I can reach it. It's a little bit far away. So there you go. This one.
Wow.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Yes.
So this one is from my upcoming collection. It's called Bold. So the upcoming collection that I have is mainly about women and our empowerment. So this piece is all about being bold. I'm trying to find a place to keep it. Yeah. So it's all about being bold. It's about women kind of standing their own power, just believing in themselves. So the collection has about a couple of pieces. So it is There's going to be bold, there's positivity, empowered, like different words like that. So things that are really like motivational. And this one, basically the colors I chose, they're all bold. The whole piece is very like bright. It's the leaves are meant to represent, again, the person shining through whatever it is, whatever is coming through, the person's personality, who they are, showing through, standing tall between all of that. So this is like
wow.
collection, and yeah, just one piece from the launch.
That's amazing.
I kind of like this because I actually had for my previous collection, there was a piece, it's called Gratitude, and one person actually, like the who bought it, she was like has it in her home, and every time she sees it, she just remembers to be grateful, and every time she sees it, she just remembers how it's kind of got a story to it. So it's like every time you look at the painting, you'd count the number of flowers, and you remember all the things you're grateful for in those flowers. So it's like she actually does a daily practice. Every time she looks at it, she actually remembers, like, I'm so grateful for my home, I'm so grateful for my family, and she just like, it's that piece has become such a special piece for her, and it just means so much. So
that's amazing.
This piece will go to a new home and make us happy. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, you're actually making a difference in people's lives, and I think we need a lot more of such people. That's really nice. So, what do you have a co-partner?
I do, and I'm so excited to like have co-partner. No, I do have a couple of interns who help me with some of the back end stuff. But actually, I do have an agent who works on certain things. Basically, I've kind of got other people, but I don't have a partner who's working with me in the business.
That's nice. I mean, I think there's a time for everything. So I think you've at least there is a team. So at least you won't be burdened with everything. So what were the challenges that you faced when you actually made this decision that let's do this full time, or even in the beginning, maybe like what were your challenges when doing this, in case somebody's listening to us and is also planning to start one?
I think there's a couple of things. So one of the biggest challenges was myself. It was my own fears. I think a lot of us resist starting a business, doing something for us, like we want to, and we put in like. So I remember I was talking to this girl, and she was just this lady, and she just launched her collection, and she was just telling me, if she had gotten into asking a manufacturer to do it for her, and how it wasn't that great compared to when she did it herself, like when she spoke about it and when she tried to sell it. And I was just telling her, like, you gave it to a manufacturer, how much did you talk about it, and compared to how much did you talk about it when you were doing it yourself, and the difference massive. So the thing is, like, people just assume that just because like they want to do it, but they don't put their whole heart into it, or they try it with like a mini amount, they're not willing to put in their full heart and full effort into. So that was for me a big thing, that every time I launch, every time I put up a product, I put my whole heart into it. It's not like I'm like, here's a piece and then I take it away. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'll talk about it once. That's not the case. So whenever I'm putting out something, for me, it was really hard to show up consistently and be there, be present throughout, not just give up so quickly. So that was the first thing. Was in terms of figuring out what worked for me, because there's so many revenues, there's so many streams, there's so many ways you can go about the same thing. And for me, I had to figure out what worked for me, and that took me some time, because I tested a lot of things, some worked, some didn't work, and I finally figured out what I actually like. So yeah, those were the two main issues. And also hiring, if you need help, you don't have to hire someone full-time, but at least getting an intern or someone to help you with some things that you absolutely do not like. So if I don't like certain things, like it was very hard for me to accept that I couldn't do it myself. So I would have someone to help me, especially when it was like website development or something really stupid as like editing my art. So it was okay for me to give it to someone else to do that work for me. So
okay, that's a very, I mean, I think, I don't know if it's common to women, we feel like we are superheroes already and we have to do everything ourselves. That's a nice point that you've mentioned there.
Yeah, and when I started, I was like, I can do a website. Like, I know I can do a website, but it's like, is it worth my time to do the website? Like, I would spend maybe 3 weeks to do this website when I could give it to someone else to do it in a week's time. So which would I prefer? 3 weeks of staring at it, hating the fact that I couldn't figure it out, or struggling with it and going like, I wish someone else would, I wish it was easier. And just like in my head for 3 weeks, or giving it to someone and then spending my 3 weeks doing something more better. And so I finally came, like, so it took me a long time to get to that stage where I'm like, if I don't like doing it, I give it to someone else, and I'm gonna do stuff that makes me happy. And guess what? It works out better. It works out way better.
That's so nice. I mean, you get to choose like what to do, and choose exactly what makes you happy. I wish people had. I think that's a very fortunate thing to have in these days. A lot of people are doing things that they don't really want to, and they're stuck in that cycle of, I don't like my job, or it's a huge cycle, and even quitting takes courage.
It takes, and that's the thing. Like, if you want to go into a creative industry, you have to do things, and you need to accept that you not do everything. And it sounds fun, like, oh my god, I'm going to save like 500 rupees. And then when you think about it, you're like, but that time that I could have given, I could have done something better that would have made me make more money and be more profitable than spending it on this. It's like really understanding that it's okay and taking that risk. And a lot of people don't take that risk. It's very scary. And that's why the inner work is so important, because you need to trust that just because you can't figure out a website does not mean you're not a business owner, does not mean you're not good enough, doesn't mean that you're being, wasteful. No, it just means that someone is there who knows it better, who can help you out. So do what you're doing, which is good. Like, play with your strengths. True. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, do you have anybody who's done this in the family before? Anybody who's on the creative side, or anybody who started their own line of products?
Creative side, yes. Creative side, yes. So my sister does scrapbooking albums, so she's been in the creative side. She used to do jewelry as well. But she built up the business the way I have done it, so mine is a little bit different structure. So yeah, I did learn a lot seeing her business, but a lot of it has still been me kind of figuring it out, because I think it's just different way of doing things. Again, as I said, like, you can't do the exact same thing else someone else does and make it work for you. Like, some people prefer products, some people don't want to do the products, they want to do something easier. So it just depends on your time, what makes you happy,
what works. True. Yeah. So, like, does your sister help you out here? Is that's a lag.
I used to help her with her business, but this one I'm like, it's mine. It's my baby. No. Yeah, I don't have anyone.
Okay. So was your family supportive of this initially, or did anybody mock the idea, or was everybody on board from day one?
I think it's a very standard thing. I think in the culture is like doing something with creativity. People generally say that it's not going to work, that you're taking a big risk, that it's not going to be a money thing. So I think it's a very standard thing. So I can't say it's specifically family. They want to be supportive, at the same time they don't know it is possible. So it's very tricky. I take it on as a challenge to show that, guess what, I can do it. But it is, I think even if they want to be supportive, they are supportive, but they're scared because they don't know if it's actually gonna. They like try and then they don't try at the same time. So they're like there halfway. But I think that's why like now people are getting into, like, if you see in India, have more people trying to start a business. They're more excited, but it's still not as much as it be in US, where a lot of people, they want to go into the creative direction. They do. They know that there are revenue streams. They know that it's possible. I think it's more open there, but in India, it is assumed that if you are in a creative field, you're not going to be successful.
That's
I think that's still there. It's changing. It's changing very quickly. Amazing. Yeah.
I'm hoping to spread the word out that, with all of these women-led businesses, guys, art is not something to be joked about. It is really serious and needs effort, and actually is a very fruitful business for a lot of people. So this, I think, will definitely be one of those episodes where people realize that it is not a thing to be looked down upon or joked about.
Like having and having people like you, like, really bringing artists and bringing people and talking about things, like it actually makes more it's like making everyone more aware it is possible. Like 10 years back, you didn't have many artists who were successful in India. Now that number has gone up massively. That's amazing.
So did you figure out a way to, I'm sorry, have you ever thought of stopping this and starting something new, or is this just one of the things that you want to stick with? Like, are you planning multiple things? As in, like, you mentioned NLP, so I was just wondering whether you're trying to go in that direction.
It's going to be part of the same thing. It's going to be part of the same thing. So there will always be courses that I offer in terms of skill building, because I think that's so important. You can't, without the skills, you cannot really build your business. You do need to have the skills. Like, if you can't paint, you can't do anything. Like, you still need basics. That's always part of it. The coaching is going to be additional. So I can't leave painting. Like, creativity has always been part of my life. It's never going to stop. It's not. It's always going to be part of my life. It shouldn't.
Definitely don't think of quitting this. I think it's bringing joy to a lot of people. So, one question.
I actually don't have any plans to do it. So, yeah. Good.
Yeah. So I want to know whether, do you think women are reluctant to start businesses? Like you mentioned, like how we were talking about, though women have had a desire to start a creative business, or maybe it's a technical business, whatever it is. Do you think women in general face a lot of hesitation within themselves? Like, they have that internal dialogue within themselves, like, no, I can't do this, or what does mean?
Yeah. So I think I've met different type of women. I have met people like women who are very reluctant to start. Some of them are very supported, like they do start a business, but their business is not an income source for the house. So they do it, but they're not like very serious because they don't actually believe they can be successful. So I've seen a lot of women start, they've done it. I've seen a lot of artists, women artists, and it's all there, but I feel like not all of them still follow everything. They still don't give themselves the permission to succeed. I still see that resistance. Because I saw it myself. Like, it's not like I could, like, I was painting for 2 years before I even thought of starting things. So it's like, yeah, sure, I can paint, I can put it up there, I'm excited. But to take myself seriously, say that I'm an entrepreneur, to put out that word that I'm a business owner, that's different. That I feel takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage. And I think people are still scared because I think it's a lot of fear, there's a lot of unknown. because culturally we've been taught business itself is a very big question mark. But I think again that's changing, and that's not the case anymore. And I think again 2020 taught us that, because with COVID, like something so unexpected, a lot of people lost jobs, a lot of people had a lot of like situations that they never thought that would happen, and the stability surprisingly was through media and internet and social media. That was the stability, which it's a new thing, and I think it's changing. I think more and more people, like more and more artists that I'm meeting, are more excited to start. They're doing products, they're excited to like launch their business, and they're ready to step forward. And we all have it within us. I think we've always been we're very strong. Like we handle so much, we juggle so much, are actually really good in handling so many things. It's just that we don't give ourselves that permission, which when you see someone else succeeding, it's a lot more easier to believe that you can. So that's the good thing. It
actually hurts me when you say that.
So I get so inspired. I'm like, oh my god. Sure.
When you say that we don't give ourselves the permission to succeed, I mean, that's quotable, and I don't know why we do that.
It's unfortunate, but it's like, it's kind of, without being mean, but that's the truth, right? Like I didn't, like my biggest issue with putting myself out there, it's not like I couldn't have, right? Like starting an Instagram page, putting out my art, how big a deal? It's not even that big, and it's not even a big thing, but I started doing that 2.5 years back. Like it took me so long for me to put out my art, which would have costed me nothing. There was nothing that I had to do, just put it up there. But it was like, I was so scared. I didn't give myself the permission to be a business owner. Like, can I say that? And even about like, I think 6-7 months back, my Instagram still said like watercolor artist. And now I changed it to entrepreneur, because I am in a basic definition of what an entrepreneur is. I am, but I didn't give myself that permission. And I know so many artists, so many women who are doing their business, like they're doing amazing stuff, they're making money, but they're like, oh my god, I'm not doing this. Blah. You know, all these like, oh, I haven't done this, so I'm not an entrepreneur. But you are. So give yourself that permission.
That is so nice. I think I can make t-shirts out of this conversation itself. So thank you so much. I feel I think on several levels you've connected a lot, and when you mentioned the culture part, I think there's like, if you were to take India as a country, there are some parts of our country that are fully business oriented. Like they would be like, one of the first guests we had was she was partly Gujarati, so she's like, everybody's running a business. And the other side is like, no, get an education and get a degree first, and then get a job. So even like culture wise, we're divided, and there's a lot of different kinds of fights to finish, before you actually reach there. But I think what you meant is right, that the pandemic actually taught us that you need to have multiple streams, and you shouldn't be dependent on a job. I think it's like defining the new norm, and I really hope artist is as a new norm, and everything that we have businesses based on that be a lot more credited, and people are ready to invest in you guys a lot more. Regarding the investments, have you ever looked for investors for expanding your business further, or have you had any challenges in getting investors on board?
Not really, because I'm not looking at something like that. As I said, like my business model is a little bit different, where I am planning to grow it very organically without needing investors. And it works because the thing is, I'm not going to go into retail. Like I don't have any plans of starting a shop. I don't have any plans of doing a big scale retail. And again, that's the big misconception. I don't know why that word translates, but a lot of people assume that if you want to start a business or you want to start something, you need to have a massive investment, and you need to have massive money. And it's actually not true. You can do it in a very, very sustainable amount. It's just about investing on the right things at the right time, you know. So like, just because you want to start a business doesn't mean you have a website. Like right now, things have changed so much. There's so many free stuff that's available. There's so many free apps that's available. Like I remember before it was like you needed to have a website, you needed to have a payment platform, you needed to have an actual in-store place, so you needed to actually rent a studio or rent a place, have things put up. But now you have social media, people buy online, it's so common. I know in India, like Dunzo is like such a common thing, like you just Dunzo everything. Like, you know, you can ship stuff, it's not a big deal. You don't have to have an in-person rented rented a shop. You don't need to have someone, an employee usually. Like, you don't need that big investment. So no, I'm not planning to look for an investor. I think that would, I think that would not make me excited. So no, I'm just trying to do things that make me happy.
That's a great mantra to live by. So, I think everybody should do that.
Businesses. So, what?
Do what excites you. That should be a tagline. Do what excites you.
It's so important. It is so important. Because when you do things that don't excite you, trust me, nothing happens. Like I've tried doing stuff that don't excite me. Nothing. When I do something that excites me, like, oh, that is so simple, that makes me feel happy, boom, like there's huge impact, there's huge things that I'm like, okay. Yeah, but eventually I do want to go into investing. I know I have a big plan for my Femvisionary platform. So hopefully by next year I go into investing, supporting other businesses and helping them. But yeah,
that's amazing. Wish you all the best and keep doing what you're doing, because you're definitely making a difference in people's lives, making people smile. And for a person who loves words, I think your naming is bang on, right on spot. So I love hearing the stories behind that, and wish you a lot of success. Keep going forward, and I'm gonna link all of the website, the Instagram. Do let me know if your courses come out so I can link them again. I'll try to bring this out in a blog so it'll be clearer. I think we had some glitches. Thank you so much for accepting the invite.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best. Bye.
You too.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.